Hey, what's up everybody? You got Matt here from Nerdthusiast. Today's video is all about different controllers I have in my collection. I'll be showing you some different color variants, some special edition, and things like that. Special shout out to Juan Espinoza for supporting us on Patreon this month. Also, this was voted on over at Patreon as well. This was a video topic that got voted on in our poll. So thank you guys for selecting that. Real quick, before we get into the controllers too, just wanted to give a shout out to Pac-Man. It's his 40th anniversary. Wearing my Pac-Man t-shirt right now. This is actually the 25th anniversary, so this t-shirt is officially 15 years old. I got this back in 2005, which is pretty awesome. So, happy birthday, Pac-Man. Love you. Alright, so let's start off right at the top. My favorite controller of all time, PlayStation 3. No, I'm just kidding. This is nobody's favorite controller. This is the DualShock, which is a little bit better than the 6-axis controller that they made for the PS3, which was super light. This was definitely an upgrade to that, but still probably PlayStation's worst controller. This is probably my favorite PlayStation controller. This is the PS2 controller right here. PS2 is a great console, one of my favorite ones of all time, and their controller was just very, simplistic. It was basically, an upgrade to the PS1 DualShock, which is all anybody really needed. Now, the PS4 controller is good too. The big map button in the middle isn't necessary. There's a few things that are, don't need to be on there. But this right here, this is classic. All right, so sticking with some retro stuff, I do consider PS2 to be retro. We're going to hop into some real old school stuff real quick. You may not consider this a controller, it's really a fighting pad, I guess, but this was a controller for the NES, so this is the NES Advantage controller. So you may or may not have had one of these growing up. I did not have one of these. I imagine it's pretty hard to play most games with, but if you wanted it to feel like the arcade, this was the way to do it. Then we got the NES Max, which is a very odd controller. On the back it says Nintendo on here. It looks like this was officially made by them. Yeah, the model number says NES 027, which is typical model numbers that they used for NES products. So this was made by Nintendo, definitely a weirder controller. They had turbo buttons on them, which is pretty cool though. But this is like, who wants this thing? Give me a D-pad, Throw some turbo buttons on there, great. Just leave the D-pad. Didn't need to mess with that. Then, of course, we have your classic NES controller right there. This is the square design or the rectangular design. These always hurt my hands just from doing this constantly and like gripping the controller super tight when I was a kid. The corners would actually hurt after a while, which is probably why when Nintendo released the second system, the smaller top-loading NES, they redesigned the controller with the dog bone style. If you can get a hold of these controllers, these are the best controllers to buy on the NES. I prefer these 10 times to 1 over the rectangular ones. They don't hurt my hands. It's way more comfortable to hold. And I think they realize that a lot because this is basically the precursor to the Super Nintendo, which also has that dog bone style to it. The curved edges. Of course, on the Super Nintendo, you got the R and L buttons up top. This is one of the greatest controllers of all time. You get a solid D-pad on there, which is great to have. It's amazing how many companies can't get a D-pad right. It kind of blows my mind. But anyway, Super Nintendo, definitely, top of the top. Alright, we're staying with some retro stuff just a little while. We got a Sega Genesis controller. Now this is not from Genesis, however it is officially licensed by them. I believe the company, which is Retrobit, they got the mold to basically recast it. So this feels just like a Genesis controller. which is awesome. Like, this is basically, you can get these today still. It's like getting a brand new Sega Genesis controller fresh out of the box. Even though Retrobit made it, it feels just like the original. Now, you can get them in 2 different variants. This is the blue one. They have a black one too. I've seen some special edition ones that are different colors as well. But these plug into the Sega Genesis, the actual Sega Genesis, and you know, some other different consoles that take that. I think it's like a 9-pin port or something. So that's what those controllers are for. Now, that they do make these ones here, which is the same thing. It's a Sega Genesis, but you can use these on like PCs and different things. These ones actually have a USB cable. If you have the Sega Genesis mini console, you can use these on there. It's a 6-button controller, unlike the ones that come with the Sega Genesis mini, which is only the 3-button controller. So this is specifically why I got this, is for those. Now, I do have a thing for blue controllers, so I just want to show some of those off real quick. This is obviously the Genesis one. This is my Dreamcast blue controller. Very, very sexy, translucent blue. I love the Dreamcast controller, with one exception. My God, why did they put the cable at the bottom of this thing? What the hell, Sega? Who thought this was a good idea? And they have this stupid thing, oh, you like wrap it around the back and then it sits in the front? Why didn't you just build it in the fucking front? Why do I have to wrap it around to get to there? Why? If you knew that you were going to have to do that, why not just make it that way to begin with? Other than that, I love the Dreamcast controller. Sticking with the blue theme, I got the Wii Blue controller right here. I do have one on my Xbox One, which I forgot to grab, but I do have an Xbox One also, so I tend to get a blue controller for just about every console for some reason. Just, you know, I really like the blue controllers. Speaking of Wii, this is one of the probably harder to get controllers on the Wii. Maybe not the hardest to get, but this one came with, when they redid GoldenEye, this came with the GoldenEye game, and you know, you can get the game by itself or you can get it with this controller, but having these Pro controllers were great. That was the best way to play that GoldenEye game, which was actually a decent game. Wasn't as good as GoldenEye 64, but I thought they did a pretty good job of replicating, you know, the feel of, you know, playing multiplayer in that, you know, in that space. Alright, hopping back to the Genesis controllers really quick. I did pick up some Saturn ones too, because Retrobit also re-released Saturn controllers. Again, you can get these in USB, but these controllers here are made for the Sega Saturn, because I have a Sega Saturn and my controllers are super old, so I basically have like brand new Sega Saturn controllers now. This is the Japanese colors, but you know, it'll work in any Saturn. Alright. Then we have, this was a special edition controller we got at one of our managers conference for where I work, which is GameStop. This was sent to us for free, so I did not pay for this one. Thank you, Microsoft, for giving this to all the managers that year, which was a couple years ago. So that controller is pretty cool. Then we got this one I picked up around the time the game came out, which this was the first like really special edition controller that I really went out of my way to have. Which was awesome. I love this controller. This is one of the coolest looking Xbox One controllers. This is from Gears 5. Next up, we got a little bit more unique controllers, or harder to find controllers, at least the next like 3. This controller here was from the GameStop Managers Expo in Indianapolis from 2018. These were designed, you know, by Sony. It says, you know, 2018 GME, like they made these boxes just for us, which is really cool. They probably made, you know, there's roughly 5,000 employees. They probably made some for like the executives and stuff too. So they probably made about, I would say like 5,500 of these would be my guess. But again, that's just a guess. I don't know that for a fact. But these are probably going to be harder to find just because if you weren't a manager or you didn't work with a company, you probably did not get one of these. So that's the translucent blue one, which was awesome because I love blue again. And then this is the one they gave us for 2019, which is the camo style one, which is pretty awesome. And then next up, this I actually just got. I got really lucky with this. Shout out to Wario64 again, the man on Twitter. Always posting stuff about things that are hard to find. So I saw a post for this one morning. This was from Amazon, but Amazon owns a company called Woot. And I'm guessing that they had these like somewhere in their facility and like forgot about them or something, and then they found them and they just started to sell them again. This is a brand new 500 million edition. It's like a dark translucent blue, which again I love. The box was kind of beat up, which makes me think again this was probably like under some stuff, but it is still brand new. It's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet. The system is probably one of the most collectible PS4s you can get. I did try to get a system when they released them, but unfortunately was not able to get one. You had to get online and you had to order them like super fast and get super lucky. I haven't actually seen one of those consoles in person yet, but I have a controller, which is cool. And then we did get some recent controllers in too that I ordered. We got The Last of Us Part 2, which is awesome. This came in only like 2 days ago, so this is fresh out the box. It has Ellie's like tattoo right there. It says The Last of Us Part 2 on the bar, which a lot of people complain about, but I don't care. I don't care if it says The Last of Us Part 2 on it. But yeah, this is probably going to be the last limited edition controller that Sony makes. Maybe they'll make one for Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't know. Next up, we got Cyberpunk 2077. This controller is just awesome. It says no future down here. I love the whole aesthetics of it. On the back, I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually the, well, this is right there in the back of the controller too, which is awesome. They didn't just design the front of the controller, which is nice to see. And then finally, this is probably the best controller ever made in my opinion. I prefer Xbox One controllers over any other controller. I think the Xbox One controller is superior to PlayStation's. Again, I do like the PS2 controller a lot, but not as much as I like the Xbox. And specifically, the Xbox One Elite controller is the best controller you can buy, in my opinion. There's some weight to it, which I like. It doesn't feel like a cheap piece of plastic. If you can get one of these, I would definitely recommend it. They are very expensive. They're about 180 bucks usually. Sometimes you can find them on sale for cheaper. Now, this is the Series 1. There is a Series 2 for the controller, which I do not have. There are just some minor differences. I don't think there was any major changes to that controller. But yeah, you can go through. I like the offset thumbsticks quite a bit. Some people hate that. I don't know why. I can play with a PlayStation controller or an Xbox controller. They don't really bother me. I think that the offset sticks, to me, feels more comfortable in my hands. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Please leave some comments and feedback. We would definitely appreciate it. Follow us over on Twitter, @NerdThusiast. If you want, you can follow my personal account, @FromNJ2CA. So from NJ to CA. Please support us on Patreon. Anything you guys donate goes directly back into the channel. We're going to put it towards equipment and expanding and different things like that. Would definitely appreciate your support over on Patreon. Alright guys, take care.